So a lot of you know that I'm a busker, and street performers tell great stories. Well, my buddies at the Stories from the Pitch podcast were like, hey Alex, do you want to animate some of our tall tales? You know what? My fans, A-listers, the web scout, fan delicious delights, they would love it. So this first story is told by the incredible street performer, Clark McFarlane.
In Paris, I had an ankle injury, and I'm broke. So I get the idea to be a living statue, which was all the rage. And the living statue that I chose to be, being Christmas, was a Christmas tree. So I just sit there and listen to Mel Torme and wait for someone to tip me. And they would tip it in a little present box that had all the batteries in it. And I was on the Champs-Elysees, and I finally had kind of a half-good day. Got into a cab, put the stuff in the back, female cab driver, and she's asking me in French if I'm smoking, because the cab really reeked of this smoking smell. And so she pulled over, we opened the trunk, and the battery pack in the present is in flames. And she was just, oh, and now we just got it out immediately and just sort of stamped it out and was like, oh my god, and there's like money coming out of it in the fire. And I was like, well, that's the last time I do that shit.
Can you imagine that? Working all day long and then just finding out all your money is on fire? Now this next story is by the world-famous Butterfly Man. And if you're wondering why he had that name, it's because anytime he would take off his hat, he had a giant butterfly tattoo. Right there.
Here I am on the pitch, a week to go before I'm going to leave Japan. I throw my clubs out to the audience, and one comes sailing back like a rocket and hits me in the side of the head. And I'm told I got to see a doctor. Well, who walks up? That girl that had slugged me about a week or so ago. And she goes, well, I thought you said you were going to ask me out again. And I went, you can take me to see the doctor.
Date number 2 is the emergency room.
No, so it was a doctor's office. She's in the waiting room. Doctor's in there. I let out a blood-curdling scream. He freaks. And then I sneak to the door, and there's this little Japanese girl, just completely terrified look on her face. And I went, just kidding.
Can you believe he married that girl? Nice moves, Mr. Butterfly. Nice. Now, we've only got one story left. If you guys are digging these stories, leave it in the comments down below. That way I know to make more. And this last storyteller has performed in high-end circuses all across the globe. His name is Rob Torres, and his story is called The Peeing Wino.
In Pompidou Center, I was street performing, and before the show came this bum. He starts peeing on the wall.
Oh no.
My friend Ben starts this kind of little fight, and he took off. So Ben's in the middle of his show, chained up, and the guy decides to come back.
Perfect.
It was great timing and karma. So he comes back into the show with his bottle of wine in his hand, and he comes up and he starts heckling him.
Inside the show.
It's just him and Ben on stage. And then there was a point where the funny kind of died from the scene, so I snuck up behind the bump, and I just took the bottle out of his hand. And he turned around and went, no! And I just sat there and I put one little drop on the pavement. No! And I kept stepping backwards, and he kept following me, and I put another little drop on the pavement. He'd go, no! And I walked him out of the circle, and off I went.
Ew, peeing gross. Ugh. You gotta gross that story. Leave your comment about it downstairs. Try and gross me out. Good news, you guys. I got some samples from the print manufacturers. The t-shirts are getting here real soon. Get excited to get one. I know you do. For more great stories on street performing, check out the Stories from the Pitch podcast. I'm itsalexclark, and I will see you somewhere, okay? Bye!